Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching NDTV. BRS working president and former Telangana minister KT Rama Rao apologized on Friday for his remarks regarding the free bus ride scheme for women in the state. His remarks, which referred to videos of women stitching sweaters, peeling vegetables on buses, had sparked a controversy. Telangana minister Sitaka had slammed KTR's comments, calling them highly objectionable towards women. For long, we have seen state-sponsored bus rides as empowering to women, a win-win situation for all, a move that gives mobility to women and also increases their exposure and confidence in a society that often sees them as a burden. But this show is not about KTR, his apology, or even free bus rides. It's about the language that people see as perfectly normal when they want to insult women, the mindset that prevails and often is dismissed with just an apology, the scars that it leaves on women, the same women who have been protesting not just in Kolkata but across the country, seeking safety and justice. Joining us now is a group of experts. We have NV Subhash, who's the Telangana BJP and former Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao's grandson. We have Kishwar Desai, who's an author. We have Sridhar Reddy, who's the senior spokesperson of the BRS. We have Asma Tasleem, who is the Congress spokesperson. We also have Brinda Adige, who's social and women activist. Thank you so much for joining. But before we go to our guests, let's also take a look at this report by my colleague Uma Sudhir.
Effigies burnt of BRS working president KT Rama Rao to protest his comments mocking the free bus scheme for women, saying women were free to peel onions, sew and knit, and even do a break dance in the free-to-travel state-owned buses in Telangana. Telangana's Women and Child Welfare Minister says KTR's comments were derogatory and that it reflects a feudal mindset.
Comments is very badly. Women are very hard workers. Women are very hard workers. They don't have much time because they are doing outside duty, and after that they went to their homework also, kitchen and children's and husband, keeping house, so many works. Then they are respecting their own work, srama. You are compare dance. Dance is different. Then their own work is traditional work, daily work is different.
The Telangana Women's Commission has ordered a probe, after which the BRS leader apologized and called it a slip.
I am expressing an unconditional apology. It was a slip of tongue, and I was saying things in jest. When the government was trying to defend the free bus scheme, they kept saying that peeling onions and stitching sweaters, etc., is not such a bad thing. I said the same thing, and I said they even can break into a dance if need be. But of course, I see why there is a certain amount of outrage. So therefore, I have apologized unconditionally earlier this morning. And if Women's Commission does in fact call me, I will respond.
KTR's comments were apparently meant as a political jibe at the ruling Congress's welfare schemes. But it comes at a time when women across the country are demanding safety in public spaces and also respect and dignity inside and outside their homes. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Okay, going across to Rahula Sridhar Reddy, who represents the BRS here. Sir, your party is in the dock here. I know Mr. KTR has apologized for this comment, but clearly there are better ways of criticizing a social welfare scheme by your opposition, isn't it?
First of all, I would like to, say that he already has expressed his apology, and he gave an explanation also to NDTV also in the afternoon today. And KTR, for the information of all, is a IT and Industries Minister in Telangana government in the past 10 years, and he's a very sensible leader, a leader who always behaved properly in the public life, and is known for it. And suddenly yesterday, during the conversation, there was a slip of tongue, and it was nothing intentional. It was not to insult anyone, and he had great respect for women, and never there was a case, never there was such incidents happened in the past by him or any of the BRS leaders rather did this kind of thing. So here, what I suggest rather, instead of making it big, rather to drag it, when he personally, immediately yesterday, the moment he understood, he realized that this has created a kind of outrage in the public. He immediately came forward and apologized for the same thing. Clearly said it's a slip of tongue. So my request to all the people, political parties or the
So when it
associations or
comes to
whomever,
women, we've
wants to speak
always been hearing the slip of tongue, and we always dismiss this as a a comment that has been made in a lighter vein. I'll go to Brinda after this, but first NV Subhash yesterday.
This is not a lighter vein. This is not a lighter vein. I mean it.
No,
And
not you,
whatever
sir.
KTR
KTR
also
said that
has
the
expressed,
remark was made in a lighter vein. You, of course, have said what needs to be said because you also represent the party. Mr. Subhash, yesterday the Prime Minister, while addressing his first Independence Day under Modi 3.0, said something very critical. He said that, people need to fear consequence, when it comes to crimes against women. What is your party's position when it comes to comments like this? Because, comments against women are not just the BRSs or Congresses. There seems to be a patriarchal mindset that works specifically in politics, and that is often used to vilify women, not just political workers but also voters.
Exactly. Yesterday, when Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji was addressing him, he made it clear that his government's priority is the safety of the woman and empowerment of women. When we see in the UPA government, there are so many cases against women atrocities, and there was no bill which has been passed in the Legislative Assembly or in the Parliament. But whereas Modi ji has very clearly said that the Women's Reservation Bill, which represents around 33% in the Parliament as well as the Assembly, in the upcoming elections also, we are going to make it the passable, and it will happen in that. So as for the manifesto, we are very clear that women should be representing, because almost 50% of the women in the country, the population, the women represents in that. And when we see the safety, especially in the Kolkata, where RG Kar medical student was raped and then the gang rape, and Mamata Banerjee, being a woman, she could not tolerate this kind of outrage throughout the country. And ultimately, after 7 days, she has given the CBI the consent. And for the viewers' information, either India Alliance or the Congress Party has never spoken anything about this incident which happened in the Calcutta, where the whole Western world also the media has also been taken into the consideration, where it has been very clearly said that women are the targets in some of the parts of the country. And when we see in Telangana, for your information, that from 2014 to 2019, when BRS party was in power, there was no woman minister, and even the women, the commission also represented by men.
Okay.
After Bharatiya Janata Party has made it a point that women should be included, and in 2019 they have included only 2 women in that. And when this kind of incidents happen,
right,
this remarks is really it's just insulting to the women. And Bharatiya Janata Party always claims that women are not being treated in Congress Party or in BS Party, whereas we even in assembly elections or in
okay, let
our
me go
office
across
parents in
to
the party
Asma.
also.
Tell us, how is the Congress Party looking at something like this? Is there any initiative by the new Congress Party, renewed Congress Party, when it comes to sensitivity towards women, specifically in everyday language?
Hi, thank you for having me here. Let me start with the conversation as soon as Congress formed the government in Telangana. So let me start with the behavior, conduct of BRS party towards the welfare schemes of Congress. So for BRS party, every people's welfare scheme introduced by the Congress has been a subject of mockery. So they have been, since the day one they started to drag down Congress on this pitch. However, forgetting the fact that all these people's welfare schemes are accepted by the people of Telangana. And the very fact that the Telangana people are the one who have rejected BRS out of power and gave power to Congress. So contrary to the claim of KTR saying that the schemes, the free bus ride scheme to the women, is of no use, and women can do break dance and peel onions, etc. All his comments are targeted not just towards women but also Congress party's free welfare schemes.
Absolutely.
So this is something which I have to inform him that the scheme, the women empowerment scheme was adopted by Telangana Congress after it has been a success in the neighboring state Karnataka, where the studies have suggested that the scheme has helped the women to
Absolutely.
for the proper connectivity. That has helped them to join the more workforce, and it has aided the GST factor of the state.
Absolutely. Let me take this question to Keshwar Desai. You know, ma'am, as an author, how do you see the importance of language? Because, you know, and this is a question I'd like to ask Brinda also. You know, when it comes to social welfare schemes, I don't see so much criticism of any other scheme when it comes to free bus rides. People don't like it that, you know, women are mobile. They have the freedom to take a bus ride to wherever they want. And they feel that, you know, women are just this is just wasted money. It's completely unfair. But how do you see this, ma'am?
Well, I think firstly, it has nothing to do with only the free bus rides. It is a general attitude towards women. And what we are seeing today is a complete disconnect and dissonance between the male politicians particularly, and also some of the women politicians, to the reality in which Indian women exist today. Part of the reason for these free bus rides is not only to give them a free pass everywhere. It is also for their own security, because all of us women who have traveled in Indian buses, and so have I, have been victims of eve teasing, of harassment, of all kinds of things. So this is a safe and secure space which is given to women, but let that be as it is. What we are talking about today is that despite the fact that there has been the most horrific rape which has happened in Bengal, which should have been a wake-up call for all politicians across the board. It should have been a moment where we all step back and say, isn't it time we begin to look at women's safety and security and give them some respect? And here I would not include only the politicians, I would also say all across the board. This includes people who are running the most malicious campaigns against women on social media.
Right.
This includes our actors who sometimes take on roles of extreme violence towards women in cinema, who are also in one way or the other actually attacking women, whether they're doing it physically or not, but they're creating a space where it is absolutely fine. You can say anything you want about a woman today. So I somewhat disagree with the Congress spokesperson that this is only about a particular scheme and only to bring down the Congress. I don't think so. There are many other ways in which people can bring down another political party.
Okay,
All these comments are anti-women comments.
Absolutely.
And I think we need to call them for what it is. And the moment women spokesperson...
Brinda Adige, last comment from you. I'm completely out of time. Last comment from you. I'm sorry, ma'am. Last comment from you.
Yes, what we need to understand is we are a largely patriarchal country. And in this patriarchy, misogyny and sexism, dialogues and statements, this language that does not seem to be any dearth, they continuously want to insult and humiliate women, and nobody calls them out. There is no ethical language with any of the politicians in any of the parties. Some of them are a little careful, but other than that, nobody is pulled up by their party for this kind of a language or this kind of a mockery or retrograde statements. Until and unless the parties don't pull up their leaders, these men and women, like the other person said, will continue to use this language of insult and humiliation against women. Now, why is it so? They are upset and they are angry also that women are also the biggest voters.
Right.
Every party bets their win or loss on the women, and they are angry. Probably KTR is angry on this, but it is not just KTR, it is also others. Now the party politician leaders must take up this responsibility for ethical language to show dignity and respect to all women. This is not a favor they are doing to us.
That's absolutely
This
very
is
well
their duty.
said. I think it's a lot of anger that comes towards women for voting for a certain party, for voting for what is really good for them. Thank you so much for joining me on this broadcast. Gender equality is clearly an issue, and it begins with everyday language. That is something all of us have to think about. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep watching NDTV for more news and updates.